Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are at Dairyland Super National
in Toma, Wisconsin. They've got 2 tracks back here, and they're running every kind of like fooling thing that we've never seen before.
Yeah, there's tractors, there's trucks, there's all kinds of different stuff. I actually saw one tractor earlier that had 2 aviation engines that had 24 cylinders each.
Wow. Okay.
It was
That's
nuts.
And there's semis. The whole reason we're here is to see the semis. So stay tuned, keep watching this, because we've got like 5,000 horsepower semis pulling 50,000 pound sleds out here.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane, and you're gonna love it because we love it, and I know you're gonna love it.
All right, follow on guys, it's gonna be a good time.
Ladies and gentlemen, represent Kemper down fast, a whole lot of power. Good all the way around. A little smoke coming off the back of those tires too.
So we're gonna let this right here. We're gonna take it.
All right, we're here with Pat Island, and we're gonna check out your truck.
All righty.
This is like the truck to check out, guys, because well, you watched the runs earlier in this video, and obviously he won. So you got a thing or two figured out with this.
Yeah, you know, this one's a whole new deal to us. It's been gremlins the last couple hooks.
Yeah.
Even to get it off the line, you know, and it's all new to us. This truck is this year or whatever, so it's good to come here. It's kind of our big hometown hook. We're only a couple hours from here, so to come here and win. And there's a heck of a good crowd here today and a lot of good trucks, you know. So anytime you can win a Toma or any hook against all these Grand National semis, they're tough to beat. So,
Yeah.
You know.
It was pretty cool. It was a lot of fun to watch. I think,
Right.
Tommy, is that the first time you've seen a pool like this? Or have you been to one with the semis?
I've never been to one with the semis. So with with this, it's called the Super Semi.
Super Semi, yeah. Grand National Super Semi.
I've never even heard of this before.
Sure.
So so Bill invited us up here and told us that we were going to come and see pulling semis.
Yep.
Like the first thing I thought of was like the Canadian drag race.
Sure,
thing.
sure.
And like it was going to be hooked to like a flatbed,
Right.
loaded,
Right.
and it was like a drag strip kind of thing.
Yep, yep.
And we get here and it's all dirt, and I'm like, well, this is going to be interesting.
Right. No,
you guys are pulling a bunch of weight. Like it's probably what
we are. I
they
mean,
were only announcing it. It sounded like it was in like the 40,000 range.
50,000 range, you know, somewhere in that dry weight, you know, and the weight box, as everybody that knows or that watched the video, it starts out in the back, you know, so there ain't no weight on the pan or whatever, but underneath that pan there's a bunch of channels, you know, so when you're at the end of the track and the wheels are off the ground of that sled, I mean, you're pulling dead weight, and I mean,
It's just and it's
things
got
are just
teeth in there,
digging,
it's
just
grabbing,
digging,
yeah.
and you know, I mean, to try everything to stop you.
So it's
you know,
way
so-
more. It's way more than 40,000 pounds.
Right.
With the resistance it's
Yeah.
creating when you're dragging it.
Yeah,
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Well, can we flip the camera out?
Yeah, you bet.
Show us. I don't know the first thing
Sure,
about this
okay.
other than it's like makes a ton of power.
Right.
You got to learn about
You
it.
go 0 to 0 on this part, just like everything else. You know, you win one night, and you'll be last the next. You never know, you know. But the problem is, once you get them figured out, you never leave them alone, because if you don't work on them and try to get more horsepower, like everybody says, there's never enough.
No, and if you're not
The
ahead.
next guy is going to be trying to pass you up if you're sitting around thinking you got the truck to beat. You know, so
Yeah.
that's the hard part. You know,
Can't ever be lazy.
Nope, and I'm just glad I got a lot of good help and everybody that helps us along the way, you know. So everybody at Island and Sons Trucking, Carrie and his son Dakota in the shop, you know, my wife's very supportive, Jacqueline, and my parents, Tom and Julie. I mean, let us come here and do this stuff, and my dad gets to pull the other semi, all the way to my brother and stuff to help Jonathan, and he's at the shop, you know, running a company while we're gone here, you know, and he races cars, so it's cool.
Yeah.
We pull in a race and or whatever else, you know. So I mean, everybody from Dean that used to own this truck, Dean Hollicky and his wife Beth, you know, they've been a big help, and motor builder Bill Deluge, all the way to the turbo guys, Weimer Turbos, you know, and intercoolers, all the way to the hard fuel pump. Just goes down the line. I've actually competed against this truck for the last 7 years. I've been pulling, and it was always, if he beat me, I was beating him type deal, you know.
Yeah,
and
he
wanted to upgrade that tractor now, try something different, because he's winning 5 Grand National Champions with this truck. So it's all new to us, but we're learning. Just like anything, it takes seat time and everything else.
It sounds like it takes an army to make it work.
It does, you know. Like I said, everybody we mentioned before, and some, you know, you try not making it a full-time job, but some days, when you're tore up, you got to work on it and get her done and make the next show, you know. So,
Right.
and it's cool with all the fans, you know what I mean. And, I mean, just to see you guys come, that was pretty cool, you know what I mean. And we've known you guys for
Probably
years.
put these guys to work, right? Y'all have to work on it.
Yeah,
Keep it clean or something.
I don't-
Make sure the motor's running good.
Yeah, if I don't do my job, I'll get fired. One of these guys will get a seat. Yeah, so, no, it's cool. And it's so many different friends over the years we've met doing this stuff, you know, and it's just like truck showing, you know. It's all about meeting new people and hanging out with your old friends, you know what I
Right.
mean? And it's cool.
That's what we've had a good time this weekend, because we've met a lot of people.
Right.
Not met a lot of people, but seen a lot of people we haven't seen in a while
Right.
that are into the sport, and we're kind of new to it, so
Yeah.
it's been pretty fun.
Yeah, and it's like drag racing, you know. You got to bring your A game, you know. You got one shot. That's the bad part about it. Yes, you can go rent a track or you can go rent a sled, but who are you pulling against? You know, you might look like you're a hero out there dragging that sled all the way, all 3-4 times a day. But when you come here, it's the true competition, you know, and you got one shot at it. And usually they got like today was a floating finish, they called it.
Yeah.
Like the longest one, round one or whatever. So sometimes it's a pull off. So anything over a 320, 350 mark, the guys that went over that mark could go in a pull off. So it's hard on equipment. I don't like doing it, but we would have had to circle right back around, get everything cooled off, retop all our fluids,
and go back for
get
another
the
run.
fans and
And it's
everything
dangerous
on.
because you're beating on it pretty
is.
hard, and then you're going back out there. The engine's heat soaked.
It's tough, really tough. You know, these trucks are made just to get pulled up the line, kind of like a drag car. You fire them up at the line, you make your run, you shut them off, and it's over. You know, so it's similar to that. You know, it is. But like I said, your true test and your true deal is right here when you're in front of thousands of people. You know, so that's what's hard about it. You know, so yeah, like I said, 0 to hero pretty quick in this sport. You know, one night you're on top, the next night lay down.
You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, let's flip the camera around, guys,
Sure.
and then we're going to go over the engine, the suspension inside of it, and like learn what a pulling truck is.
Sure. Okay.
All right, let's do it. All right. So this thing started out as a 07 379, and it is nothing near what it started out as at all.
Right, so like this one, some of the pulling trucks you see, they got the stock frame that, you know.
Yep.
You take all the cross members out and do all some, that way they flex going on the track.
Yep.
Well, this one's a different deal, and that's why it sits so low. It's all a tubular chassis, you know, it's built by Kilmeyer's, not far from us or whatever. And they got another truck he pulled for years too, and now he's moved on to a different class too. But like on this one, like I said, with how you see all the tubular chassis and everything. So it's all built. It's kind of with a link suspension on the back and everything. So it's completely different. It gets a real low to the ground where like a lot of the semis in the class they look like a normal height semi.
Yep.
Where this one's been narrowed up.
Real low.
Real drop. We didn't chop the cab on this one, but like our other truck we chopped the cab. But like I said, on this one, you can get inside the van trailer, so it's all narrowed up. Like the fenders are narrowed up.
Yep.
They cut in half and everything, and stuff like that. You know, that way
so that's
it
pretty
fits
cool.
inside the van trailer and stuff like that.
Yep.
Normal size hood, it's just all been chopped down, like the side panels and everything. So.
That's
it's
pretty
just
cool.
like anything, you know, we build a lot of custom trucks like the next guy, but it's like how far do you go with these things? I mean, at the end of the day, they're getting dirty and full of mud and dirt and everything else, and you know, so you kind of make them look pretty, but you don't get too carried away.
With it. And then, so this is like a 4-link setup. I was kind of peeking under here earlier.
So that's kind of like, it's got hydraulics push down. So basically, so what you do is you hit a switch in the cab, and then it plants that front axle. The back axle is solid.
Right.
For the reason that way you don't get hopping so bad going down the track. Because if it was all on suspension, the thing would sit there and hop real bad going down the track.
It'd go.
So like all the trucks, even like our other ones on air, but the back axle is solid for that reason. That way you can plant the front axle and it stays stationary in the back one, you know.
Okay.
So we run a DOT, we can be 10-inch wide tread on our tires, but we run a DOT approved tire. But then we build the cap up so it's wider,
right?
Like a recap tire on them.
Yep, I was noticing this.
Yeah, so they're real wide. And
now are these? That's stock. This is stock
that
groove.
Is a stock tread, but they come up with that tread a couple years ago, and it works out pretty good because it's got a cut groove in it.
Yeah, it would bite it. It's very similar in nature to like the pulling tractor tires.
Yep. And it's crazy. Like we don't run a lot of air pressure, you know, anywhere from 20 to 30 pounds in the tires, you know, so they're squatting pretty good.
Yep.
But we never spun a wheel or tire on the rim or blowing a tire out.
It's always stayed.
So.
Now, and then this is the hydraulic ram in here, guys.
So that actually, that ram there lifts the whole cab up.
Okay.
So that lifts the whole body of the chassis right on, so you can work on it and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so the whole entire cab and everything lifts up. The hood.
The whole thing lifts up.
Stays down, but the hood, the cab and the back box, it all lifts up, you know.
That's cool.
It makes it nice, you know. You can go underneath and work on it all and stuff. And back here,
you're not crawling underneath it and like getting.
The problem is it's so low, so it's hard to get to some of the stuff. But the nice thing back here, there's a big weight box back here, full of weight and everything. There's a radiator and stuff back here, fan, and then we got our big intercooler tank up here.
And you were telling me earlier, so how many pounds of ice do you guys burn?
I tell everybody it's my beer cooler, but so if you ever need it, you know, you're always looking for ice for your beer chest, but we put about 170 pounds of ice in that thing.
170 pounds of ice.
It'll burn that up every pass you make, you know. So.
And you've got because on the front, we'll walk over here and show them the motor. On the front of this, it has a water to air. Well, is that the right way? You say it's a water to air intercooler.
You know? So basically, it kind of creates like a steam. You know what I mean? We inject water injection into it. Right. Basically, it creates steam. But then this is what they call an intercooler, and then it cools air. So when it comes out of exhaust, it comes out so hot, then it goes through this cooler, and the cooler is just like anything, you know, the cooler you get the air going in the motor, the more horsepower you're gonna make. So, So that's what this big thing does. It's like a big radiator inside of there.
Yep.
And the water goes through it all and it cools the air. I mean, it turns it down from like, say, 600-700 degrees down to all the way down to 100 degrees coming out of that cooler, you know.
Come on, wow,
So
so
you're
a lot.
injecting that cool air into that motor. It's just making power, you know. A lot
So
of torque.
the ice up here, there's water going through the ice in the back here, and then it's coming, it's being
Comes
pumped into this box.
Yep. Comes in and then it returns back into the ice chest, so it's constantly flowing a cool air.
Cool, okay.
So then there's a big pump, an egg pump back there, so it's pumping the water. I mean, it's so many gallons a minute, I forget what it is, but
Right.
it's crazy. I mean, you open that chest up, and it's like just the Niagara Falls back there. It's just shooting water in there, you know. But it's that short of a run, you know. You got to turn water.
You
quick,
got to
you
turn
know?
water fast, and I mean, the temps coming out of it. This isn't your typical cat engine right here.
Right.
I mean, like, hold on. Here's Tommy. Let's put your hand in front of this turbo, like. It's
You
like-
dang near stick your head beside of it, right?
I mean, that thing is serious.
Right. We run a Weimer turbo. They've always been good to us, you know, and they make power. And it's basically the same setup as like the pro stock tractors, you know.
Right.
Like that Mack and Bootlegger and all them guys run. And we kind of run a similar charger and a similar fuel pump, you know. So it started out as a 3406B model block. You know, back in the day, with them like 450 horse motors.
Yep.
And every year you think you've maxed out on your power, you know. We built it, when this truck was built, it started out as like 2,500. Then over the years, now we're knocking on door 4,000 horsepower.
4,000 horsepower.
The problem is, when you make more horsepower like that over the last few years, the blocks have been starting to split in half. So now, for a safety reason, they've been putting a tie-down system. So we got a girdle system all the way around here with tie-down bars, where it basically takes the head and the bottom of the block and everything and sandwiches it together. That way, for a safety deal, it's got all them tie-down bars going down the side.
So you guys see, here's the bolt here, and then you've got running straight down through here is this bar, and that runs all the way down the bottom of the block right down there, and it's basically holding the bottom of the block here and the head up here and sandwiching and keeping everything together. Then they also run this cable around here, so if you do split a block, hopefully it stays contained in the area, right?
Yeah. And the reason for that cable is, I thought, you know, I'd want the cable to the back at first. When we first started pulling, I thought, why do they put that cable in front? The reason is because if it was brake, it'll flip forward.
And you had this happen.
I haven't personally, but this truck did break the
This
block.
truck did,
This
yep.
one before, the old owner broke a block. And there's been numerous guys that have broke blocks and literally seen them flip right out of the front of the truck.
You
Take
watched the whole
cab,
hood, blow the hood off of it,
cab,
and
everything, you know what
yep.
I mean? So the problem is, it's expensive, yeah, but the block's a cheap part.
Right.
It's everything bolted, the turbo, the fuel pump, all the pumps and all the lines and everything. That's where it gets expensive, you know. When you start rusting them things, everything's ripping apart and stuff like that. So it's like any motorsports. It ain't a cheap sport, you know what I mean?
No.
But it just, yeah, it's more of a safety thing than anything. But like I said, it just, when you're turning that kind of horsepower out of them, I mean, something's got to give eventually.
Yeah.
So it's been pretty good. I mean, they've come up with a lot more. Even like these blankets on the turbo, that's been mandatory this year. That's a new rule because there's been guys grenading turbos. I mean,
Well, and a turbo, the RPMs on a turbo is astronomical. The number, I don't know what it would be on y'all's end,
right.
But
so
it's
we're trying to come out of the hole at least 4,000 plus RPM. You know.
yeah,
So I mean, they're
zinging.
She sounds like she's coming out of the hood. You know, you got to start spooling up, and you know, you hit that 2,000 mark, and you're thinking, Christ, we ain't even nowhere near yet. We need to be, and it's just making noises and whatever else, and it's angry at you. You know?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you hope it all works, and yeah, it's just a lot of years of trial and error. And
Can you tell us how much boost is that thing taking, like, and rail pressure and all those things, or is that like a secret that you don't want anybody to know?
A single turbo truck's anywhere from 120 to 140 usually boost on the turbo, you know,
okay,
something like that. You get these multi-charger trucks, I mean, they're knocking on the door 180, 200 boost, you know. But we've never ran multi-turbos. There's been guys that had good luck with them, but we've always had real good luck with the single turbo.
Big single.
The nice thing about the single turbo is it just keeps tugging at the end of the track, you know what I mean?
You run out with a compound. A compound setup will get, it lights faster, but then it peters out like midway, and you've made all your boosts. You're not making any more.
So at the end of the track, these single turbos have really came on over the years because they just keep digging and digging. As long as you're up on top of the turbo, it'll keep tugging, you know.
Right.
For that multi, like you said, it'll lose one of the turbos will spool off, and it'll fall on its face faster than a single, you know. Obviously.
So guys, I just reiterate the fact here: 140, let's just call it 140 PSI into the engine. Your stock like Cummins X15 and the stuff you guys see us put together on the channel is like on a good day, like 28 pounds.
Right. You know, it's crazy. You know, we're in the trucking, and even like to start these things takes a couple cans of ether. And I mean, on a normal day, we're scared to even spray it in our road trucks.
No, you won't get near it.
You know, and so, you know, it's crazy, the RPMs and stuff. So you're sitting there thinking that you're putting this out of a block that's in a normal road truck back in the day, and it just kind of makes you think, but you hope it all works out then.
Yep.
So
we'll walk around the other side of the engine. I mean, aside, guys, from just this thing's an awesome engine, if you look up Islands and Son Trucking, like they have some really nice equipment. They always have. Me and Tommy, like we met Pat, we met you probably 6-7 years ago on the show circuit stuff, maybe longer. And you had some trucks that were they were amazing.
Right.
They were awesome
that's
rigs.
Cool. I mean, we're still building show trucks, or we're good, cool work trucks, you know. And over the years, we bought a ton from you guys at Fitzgerald and everything else, and it just it's cool. You know, we backed out of that a little bit, but we're still building some trucks and stuff like that. But it's fun because we do everything in house, you know, our own stuff, paint, all the metal work's done by the guys at Island and Sons Trucking, or the help in the shop, or we got great employees that help all along the way to make it all happen.
Right. If you guys ever look it up, you cannot mistake how their trucks look. I mean, they all kind of have a very distinctive paint scheme in some way, shape, or form, very similar to how this truck is.
You know, it's cool. You know, my brother's father-in-law, Don Graver Auto Body, he does a lot of our paint stuff, and then Greg at Top Gun Customs, he does all our airbrushing and all our custom paint stuff over the years. So he's definitely made a name for himself over the years of truck showing. You know, we've always had flames or checkers, or every one of our trucks are different colors. You know, so that's just like this. We tried to match the two trucks so they kind of look like a team truck. You know? So
if you guys want to see more of that, just Google Island and Sons Trucking, Islands and Sons Motorsports, and you'll find plenty on these rigs and all of his trucks that he runs. But you know, just kind of looking over this, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you'll have to fabricate.
Right.
I mean, this isn't, there's no part number at a Peterbilt dealership for a lot of this.
Right. No, that's like you said, Dean and Beth Hawk, he built this truck with Kilmeyer's back, back in 2011 or so. And Bill Deluge from Minnesota, he's got his own motor shop and stuff, and he does a lot of pulling motors and stuff like that. So they take credit for all the stuff on that on the motor
on this
stuff,
side.
You know. We've been just trying to improve it a little bit, you know, kind of stepped up some stuff in the last year or so to try to get more power out of it and stuff like that. So, no, it all comes together, you know, and it's like that's the water injection tank. So we take regular deionized water and we put cutting oil in it. So basically, it builds like a steam, you know.
Okay, with oil in it.
Yep. So that injects water into our ports and our intake and then our turbo and the lines here, you know. So if it gets too hot, like say if it builds too much temperature coming into that, it automatically turns on that Simpson valve, and then it sprays the water in there. So it almost looks like a milky substance, but you put that in there to lubricate the water so it just ain't in there to rust everything, you know. So it's got a little bit of
lubricant into it.
So why deionize this water?
Just because it ain't got no iron or nothing in it, you know. It's a clean water. They say, I guess, I don't know, it's what everybody runs.
So like lesser chance of maybe internal rust.
Right. So you know what you're sticking in there is clean water, and then like I said, we just put a cutting oil in it. It burns a couple gallons of that, and it burns about 3 gallons of fuel in a short pass, you know.
3 gallons.
You know,
so the poll that they watched earlier is 3 gallons.
Ain't quite the best. It's
No.
miles per inch or feet here. You know?
Miles or gallons per
gallons
feet.
per feet or inches, right? Yeah,
Golly. So if I understand this right, the water system
Yep.
is on its own. Like it kicks itself on.
It does.
It's the safety, so you can concentrate on driving, and
Basically, that does
it
all
concentrates on keeping the motor
that
together.
comes in off of, like I said, there's a Simpson valve there. So much boost it builds into water turns on. So if you see a lot of these pulling guys, they'll start building that boost, but they don't have enough RPM. Like we were struggling with that a little bit with this thing the last couple of hooks, trying to get the RPMs right. We were coming out of the hole where we usually do, but now with our new setup with the turbo and everything, we just had to come out that much harder.
Right.
So if you see it like that gray smoke and it falls on his face, what the problem is, the water's putting the fire out, you know?
Yeah.
So basically you see a lot of them pulling trucks, when they spool up, they're blowing black, and then they come out of the hole when that boost kicks in, it's kicking in the water too fast, you know? So
It's snuffing it out.
The motor out, you know?
Yep.
So that's why you got to get everything to work, you know what I mean? And like each other when the water turns on and everything else, or everything's got like these Enderley tips on it, so we can change like this nozzle right here to a certain number. Like by going up or down 2 numbers is usually 50 degrees to 100 degrees. So
Okay.
we try to run our temperatures pretty even across there, you know, right around 14, 15, 100 degrees temperature on the cylinders. So you can sit there and turn. If you're too hot on one cylinder, you can put a little bit bigger spray nozzle in it, you know. So you try to make it all pretty friendly.
And you guys data log all this.
We do.
And you can come back from the run and look at.
And there's sometimes you nail your setup, and there's sometimes what the heck happened here. We got one cylinder way out of whack, you know. But it's just the way it reacts sometimes with the weather, the humidity, and everything else.
There's all kind of stuff. So you change jet size. If you know anything about nitrous, it's kind of the same concept, just with a water oil mix.
Right. Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
I actually never ever understood 100%. That was like a really good.
Either I'm learning. This is like anything, you know. It just over the years, every time you drive the thing, you learn something. You know what I mean? Or you come back, why to do this or why to do that, you know, and you try to take notes and everything. But you can pull here tonight, and it'll be a completely different track tomorrow. You know, it depends on the weather and the temperature and stuff like that, you know. So it ain't like you're gonna go back to your notes and say, I'm gonna set my suspension here, and we're gonna come out with this RPM, we're gonna run this gear and everything. It's like today we're test hooked, you know. So it was a crapshoot. What gear do you go? You know, high hole, you drop hole, you know. So you never know. You know, you just kind of go with your gut feeling what the track looks like and how it's light and everything and stuff like that.
Well, they're really running out here because you guys can hear it. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a ton of pulls this weekend.
Right.
Real quick, because we do want to go watch some truck pulls too. Can we look inside?
Yeah, you can. You know, it's pretty simple. And he got the most comfortable seat, and we cut her all up and chopped her up, and you're only in there for a few seconds down the track, so it ain't too bad. But like I said, it got some switches that turns on my intercooler.
You run a race pack deal, and then the race pack's also set up as your data logger.
Yeah, so we run race pack in this truck, Corsa in the other truck. You know, so there's a bunch of different diagnostic things you can try or whatever. But like I said, at the end of the day, it's all there. Like I said,
everything you need to go straight, right?
Yeah, you try anyway.
And so the clutch setup in this, I almost completely forgot to bring this up. This isn't an 18-speed transmission.
No.
This isn't your typical truck transmission at all.
We run a Mack 4-speed casing, and then it's all like Profab does all our transmission work for us.
Okay.
And it's completely different. Basically, all that stock is a Mack transmission casing. And everything else is different.
And then you run a slipper clutch.
Crowder clutch, you know. So it just that way you can get the RPMs out of the hole, you know. So it slips when you come out of the hole.
So you put it in one gear, so one gear and done deal. You run down. Is when you get up there, you're gonna pick your gear and hope it's the right one.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I said, you just try to justify the track, and if you ain't the first one, then you're like, okay, how far did they go?
Yeah.
If they're down to that 350 mark, you know, you better probably put her in the big hole and give her, you know, and hopefully get down there to compete.
So like today's event, if you're the first one going down, I mean, you got to nail it because that's your shot. You got nothing to watch.
One thing would be in the test hook puller, you can drop your hook. You know, the first guy in the class can drop his hook if you don't like it.
Okay.
But the problem is you don't know if they're going to change the sled, and then you got to come back around. Well, sometimes like today was a floating finish they call it. Sometimes they have pull-offs. I don't really like pull-offs because it's hard on stuff. But like I said, you got to take that in factor too. Okay, is it going to be a pull-off deal? You just dropped your hook. Now you're hooking 3 times within half hour, 45 minutes.
It's rough on equipment.
I mean, these are made to get pulled up the line. You fire them up at the line. It's kind of a one and done deal like drag racing, and everything gets hot fast, you know. So, and if you do get in a pull off or drop your hook, you're back there putting leaf blowers on it and everything, trying to cool out the clutch and the turbo and everything off.
Yep.
Look at your data real quick and then try to adjust from there, you know. Maybe pick a different gear or something like that. If you
makes it a little stressful.
It is, you know. And it's just like anything. You get up the line, it's like all of a sudden it's a rat race. Here we are, you know. You know.
Well, we love it. I mean, it's a super cool truck. It was a lot of fun to watch today.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed it.
I would like to point something out. Can I borrow this?
I see that. He
real
must have
quick?
planned to land it.
I think he pointed it out.
Oh, the shirt. I'm wearing the shirt.
Oh, man.
It's like I'm a fan. I didn't even realize.
Good luck or what here, but
Maybe I can get you an autograph.
there you go.
Okay.
It's just like all our sponsors wouldn't be happening without them. Island and Sons Truck, you know, General Transport, Mack Trailers, 4-state trucks, everybody that makes it happen. You know what I mean? So it's all a big effort of not just one person. It's definitely there's no I in team in this sport, you know. So it takes a group of, like I said, the guys in the shop and everybody else, family and friends, that make it happen. And like I said, it's cool to see you guys here.
All right, guys, that is it for the video. We're going to go watch more fun stuff. Lots of fun stuff.
Yep.
So you guys know what to do. Like, subscribe, find us on Instagram at
Semi-casual show.
and you can find these guys at on Facebook. They have 2 different ones. They have Island and Sons Trucking and Island and Sons Motorsports. Yeah, that's where you'll find more information on these super cool trucks behind us back here.
And yeah, do those things, and we'll see you on the next video, guys.
All right, have some fun.
Later.